Greetings everyone. Thank you again for taking your time to watch this video and update. Well, this is more of a discussion and a shared thought of which I would like to engage you as well. Love to hear from you. Your take on this will be highly appreciated. I would like to thank you exceptionally for those that have subscribed to this channel. And if you haven't, please do. It will only take a minute of your time. Just click the subscription button and then click the notification bell. And while you're at it, kindly just give this video a thumbs up so that we can reach out to more people. Thank you so much. That's only going to take a second of your time. Now back to our subject and topic of discussion. Why do we tend to have immigrants or foreign nationals or foreigners in quote incarcerated? And according to the Minister of the Correctional Facilities, the budget expenditure goes into millions, more than tens of millions, up to 20 million rands. This goes to feeding these prisoners or criminals, or should I say convicts, that are of foreign countries. But at the same time, if I may ask, South Africa has bilateral agreements with these countries. Are these agreements only on trade and not on immigration? Definitely there is. But somehow there seems to be a cold shoulder that is given to South Africa from the neighboring countries when their citizens are incarcerated. This is why countries like Thailand, among other Asian countries, they don't play when it comes to their law. If they find you in breach of the law, especially if you are into human trafficking, whether it's killing or murder or drugs, that is trafficking and whatever it is, be it narcotics or whatever drug-related charge, there's been videos and news of many foreign nationals being executed, killed because of that. And by so doing, they set a good precedence or an example for their fellow criminals to know that that is not a go area, it's a no-go area. And if they do, well, their fate has been sealed. I believe that such things should be addressed at the African Union Summit, at the SADC conferences, at the COMESA conferences, but nothing of such is discussed. Why do we have these organizations if they do not provide solution to the common problems of the citizens? Foreign nationals can be arrested, detained, and when it comes to them being processed for deportation, their countries of origin do not get involved. This should be a subject that should be tackled on a national level, on a diplomatic level, and not just be dealt with in isolation. Because these foreign nationals that reside in South Africa, that commit atrocities, bear the nationality of these countries. And at the end of the day, they put the countries in disrepute. I would like us to watch this news and hear, and then I would love to hear your thoughts and take on this. Let us watch.
The Correctional Services Minister, Pieter Groenewald, says government is spending over 11 million rand a day on foreign nationals serving jail time in the country. On Tuesday, Groenewald told the Portfolio Committee in Parliament that more than 24,000 foreign inmates are currently in the system, costing taxpayers around 463 rand per inmate per day. The minister is calling for these prisoners to serve their sentences in their countries of origin and wants the Department of Home Affairs to assist with deportations, especially for parolees. To unpack these issues and more, I'm joined now by the Minister, Minister Pieter Groenewald. Minister, good afternoon. Thank you for your time. So part of what you were talking to in your budget vote had to do with the system in its entirety, and an element of that is obviously overcrowding. But you then zoned in on the element of overcrowding that you're saying has foreign national population in the prison system as an element. Just explain to us the extent of that particular element.
To give that perspective, I want to start saying that we have just over 104,000 sentenced inmates in our facilities, but we have 60,000 remandees. We have 108,000 beds. So we can accommodate the sentenced prisoners, but of those totals, there are 25,000 foreigners, which about 2,500 of them are detainees that are awaiting trial. Now, our problem is as follows, that in terms of legislation, the moment a court has sentenced a person, it determines that correctional services must accommodate that person. So we are already in talks with the Department of Justice and in the JCPS cluster, firstly, to see that we have some amendments to the legislation. And we're already also in conversation specifically with our neighbor countries to allow and to have a memorandum of understanding that we can then send people that has been sentenced back to their country of origin. If you have normal contraventions in terms of the Home Affairs legislation being illegal in South Africa, then the Department of Home Affairs can act to that. But specifically when it comes to people already sentenced, we have to deal with that problem.
Minister, just as we're being joined by the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Correctional Services, Khomotso Anthea Ramolobeng, I'll turn to you in just a moment, ma'am, but let me stick with you for a moment, Minister. The suggestion that prisoners, offenders sentenced here in South Africa through some arrangement with neighboring countries can serve their sentence in those neighboring countries, is that a system that you foresee working? Can it really work? Can we trust the systems in all of the countries from which we receive foreign nationals to adhere to the sentencing regimes, the effectiveness of those effecting regimes from our country?
Yes, I think it can work. When it comes to lifers, the minister must approve or not approve, for instance, parole. I already approved 5 foreigners for parole, and we immediately had a court order for deportation to the countries of origin. So it can work. I know people say there's no use sending them back to their countries because in 2 or 3 days they are back in South Africa. We must not be sidelined by those sort of allegations. Can I say entry into South Africa is tightened by Home Affairs, the police services and other agencies. So I say at least we must try, because remember it is costing, as you've mentioned, 463 Rand per day per prisoner. So the foreigners in our facilities is costing the taxpayer more than 11 million Rand per day. So I am of the opinion that we must continue, and I do believe in the end it will have a positive effect.
Yeah. Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, Khomotso Ramolobeng, as I welcome you into the conversation, just your own reflections on what you heard from the minister during the budget vote as it relates to the pressures on the system, the prison population, the foreign national element within that population, but also the pressure brought on by the long awaiting trial times within the system. Where do the solutions lie from what you heard from the minister as well as your own thinking?
Thank you so much for having me, and good afternoon to the minister and the viewers at home. Look, from what the minister would have echoed in the budget vote debate, this is part of the sentiments or the portfolio committee's recommendation that it had set in January or the first week of February when we met with the department, echoing that we would want Correctional Service Act, one of the section, which is subsection 1 and 2, to be amended. That speaks to the sentence and the form of those who are incarcerated in correctional service. And this speaking to it particularly with regards to foreign nationals, because what the department does is that once it receives from the courts those who they must incarcerate, have in their facilities, they can't release them up until their minimum detention of release. And that means if we enter into discussions with Home Affairs on deportation of foreign nationals, they can't be handed over to Home Affairs up until their sentence has been served. Hence, we wanted that amendment process so that when then there is those discussion that the minister has alluded to right now when I was listening with Home Affairs, then it becomes easy on the side of the Correctional Service Act that guides the department on how it should operate in the department. So we do welcome that because we have been echoing that as the portfolio committee, and those has been our major core function in trying as the department to mitigate its current challenges, especially towards overcrowding.
Minister, let me come back to you and suggest to you that you will continue to face these problems for as long as it takes so long for a person to firstly appear and stand trial before a judicial officer, magistrate, a judge. For as long as it takes, as long as it does now, you will have this problem of awaiting trial detainees. And I suggest to you that's a big part of your problem. I seem to recall that a few years ago there was some momentum around dealing differently with awaiting trial prisoners, which included, of course, that change in the uniform that they wear, the prison clothes that they wear to mark them as people who are not sentenced yet. But I think that momentum has been lost and that system is just clogged up and it creates problems for you.
Well, the fact that you say that the system is clogged up, it is true. We must remember that we are part of the criminal justice system as such. I am on record where I said the moment the police becomes more effective, which they are at the moment, they make more arrests. But then we have a problem, and the clogging up is with the Department of Justice. And as I said, we have 60,000 remand detainees, and I've mentioned the number of foreigners now, but 60, and there are ways. We can go, for instance, back to court because we have a problem with that in terms of we have 2,530 of the remand detainees who couldn't afford bail of 1,000 rand and less. But they're now in our system. If we go back to court, there is a procedure where you can request a revising or a revision on that bail, but the success rate is very low. It's around about 3%. So our courts, they have some views on that. I already mentioned it in the JCPS cluster. I spoke to the Minister of Justice, and we must see how we can speed up that system. But now we know that the Justice Department also has some financial constraints. They have a huge backlog. And yes, we must continue trying to see how we can solve these problems. And we will continue with that.
Well, I am of the opinion that every incarcerated criminal should have their biometrics done and captured and made available to all SADC countries. This way, if the criminal records are made available across the board, discipline will be enforced, because people will know that if they have a criminal record in South Africa, that same criminal record will appear in their countries. Because the problem that we have as Africans on the continent is that one can be a criminal in Mozambique, Zimbabwe, Malawi, Angola, Nigeria, wherever the countries that they come from. And when they come to South Africa, they start on a clean slate. By so doing, it does more harm than good, because when someone is a convict and they are not treated as such and not vetted as such, they tend to be given liberty to commit further crimes, which might be detrimental not only to the community, society, but the well-being of other individuals that are law-abiding citizens. So if this is done, I believe it will help to curb crime and illegal activities. Well, I'm not trying to impose this thought and ideology on anyone, but I think that this might be something that could lead to a crime-free Africa, not just South Africa alone. I would love to hear your thoughts and take on this. Kindly share your thoughts in the comment section. I would love to read your comments and read your ideas and input on this subject and take. And while you're at it, if you haven't subscribed, please do so and give this video a thumbs up. One more time, I appreciate your support for this channel and your time taken to watch this video till this moment. Thank you and God bless you. Your thoughts, comments in the comment section. Thank you.